Yeah, looks like we're just prepared to start the duel. All right, looks like we're starting off with a Swap Frog, discarding a Nimble Angler.
Angler's able to trigger here. Gonna summon out some beavers from the deck.
This is a classic good start. Nimble Angler, one of my favorite cards in the Sprite strategy because, yeah, it's able to access 2 more monsters from the deck.
Looks like Swap Frog is special summoned after the fact to send another copy of Swap Frog from the deck. Surprising. That usually means, I guess, you have Mirror Mage in hand already. And, yeah, that's what's going to happen. We're going to be normal summoning the Mirror Mage.
Is it Mirror Mage of the Ice Barrier? That's a cool card that they got a while back, but it definitely gave us Sprite more access to...
It's just a more efficient way to summon Totally Awesome. Like, Swap Frog by itself is able to send the Mirror Mage, essentially replace what Ronin Totem used to do. And now there it is, Totally Awesome. We're going to be going into Gigantic Sprite using both of those beavers. Insulated from any effect that stops Gigantic Sprite by having the Toad already set up. This is where we'd miss Sprite Elf though, but we still have access to potentially double cross. Okay, so there is a Ghost Ogre on the effect of Gigantic Sprite. Will Flay choose to use the effect of Toad?
Does it look like a Ghost Ogre is coming down? Yep, and followed up by a Bestial Magnemite.
Has to do it now if he wants to be able to summon it all this turn because of the effect of Gigantic Sprite. Or, no, it looks like, oh, Ogre resolved? Interesting. Okay, I assumed Toad would be used there, but it looks like we're just going to be able to... Oh, right. Gigantic Sprite can detach from anywhere. Sometimes I forget about that. He detached from the Toad here. The Mirror Mage is going to be able to add the Freezing Chains because it was sent to the graveyard, and Sprite Jet is able to add the Sprite Starter. And then special summon Sprite Blue from hand.
All right, we're getting electric in here. These level 2 monsters are going to keep coming on the field. As you just saw Regenesis in the last round, once you get the initial monster you need to unlock your strategy, it's going to be a constant flow of electricity here from Sprite as the circuits complete their connection.
I wonder what the Sprite end field looks like now. Obviously, Toad is going to be one of the key parts of it, but now that we're going to go into the sprint, we've already used the effect of Nimble Angler. I wonder what he wants to put in the grave right now. Another copy of Angler. That will get the remaining Nimble Beaver out of the deck. Then we can go ahead and special summon that Sprite Red. And activate the Freezing Chains. Freezing Chains is going to be able to special summon back out that Mirror Mage from the graveyard.
All right, then we're going to see a Link Summon sending those 2 monsters to the graveyard to bring out IP Masquerena.
Okay, classic.
All right, so he's got the Totally Awesome, which can negate anything. Carrot can negate a monster effect.
That is red.
Oh, it is red. Okay.
That is red,
It's been a while.
Yeah. We have 2 sets here. I mean, the biggest threat that Adam can have here is if he has access to that Sprite Double Cross, so he can use that Totally Awesome again with that open arrow that he can find here. But it looks like we're going to be adding, was that Druid Worm off of the Magnemite, or was it, it might have been Barrel Dragon actually.
Didn't quite see what he had, but let's see how Jason's going to navigate this. Has to take on a fearsome board.
Yeah, it's, nothing small here. We have Totally Awesome. We have IP Masquerena, which, threatens SP Little Knight at any point. We have the Sprite Red. Another copy of Ghost Ogre. Jason was very prepared for the mirror match here, but, you know, can be useful against this situation. It looks like we're going to be using the effect of Sprite Red, negating by attributing the Sprint. Not getting maximum value here because he would have been able to negate and destroy, but Ghost Ogre already being in the graveyard. And then Totally Awesome will be able to resolve summon Swap Rock from the deck here. I mean, I think that was a pretty good trade for Jason. Getting one interaction out of the way with the effect of Ghost Ogre there, which wasn't going to really do much of anything else. I mean, it could have been useful against the IP Masquerena later down in the turn as well, but at least forcing something out here. Hasn't committed any actual resources yet.
Jason really contemplating his options here.
He might want to just go into the battle phase, see if he can... Yep, looks like we're going into the battle phase. Do we see a double cross? Oh, Sprite Starter. Okay, this is going to be able to get... I assume the only thing you'd want in this position is going to be Pixies. Okay, well, Blue can just grab Pixies.
Okay. Oh, yep, yep. Sprite Pixies, you know, not a sprite that was used too much in the sprite's heyday, but it's definitely useful when you're trying to protect something by battle, because not only will it boost up the attack of your level 2 monsters, your Link 2s as well. And there it is, the Sprite Pixies.
2s all around, and now the battle phase has been forced, got 0 value here. Magnemite is not going to be able to attack into anything.
Yeah, Sprite Pixies works kind of like Honest, so it'll gain the attack, I believe. Cool card. Not one of my favorites, though. I have a lot of favorites.
He's just all right.
He's solid. He's good enough. Good enough to get included in the main 40. All right, so
like
now
we go after the red. It's already used, so not really that big of a concern. We're going to use the Pixies anyway to keep it alive. Might as well, I guess. The Pixie's not going to do much else at this point. All right, Jason still hasn't actually committed any of his resources of the turn. He has his normal summon. He hasn't used any Blue Eyes effects yet. He still has to get through the IP Masquerena as well as the Totally Awesome. We're going to be starting with the normal summon of that Barrel Dragon. Totally Awesome looks like it's going to be chained here, getting rid of the Swap Rock.
Barrel. Yeah, you kept saying Barrel Dragon. I'm like, there's no way he's using Barrel Dragon, but you mean Ether Barrel. Okay. Literally, I was like, I'm not going to contradict you, Asala, but I don't think he's playing Barrel Dragon. And Barrel Dragon's also a machine that you can't add with Magnum.
It's right there. Look at him.
Yes, Ether Barrel. Yes, okay. Probably had another Ether Barrel Dragon. Yes. In my head the whole time, I was like, what is he talking about? Barrel Dragon. This is not Bandit Keith. But no, it looks like Adam is, you know, navigating his turn one well enough to at least hold off Jason thus far. But here comes the Maiden of White being discarded to place the True Light face up on the field. Now, True Light can either special summon a Blue Eyes from the hand or the graveyard, or it can set any Blue Eyes spell or trap from your deck.
I wonder if Adam is just going to try to set up Blue Light as early as he can. I mean, at any point, because it's a trap, our True Light can just activate to go ahead and set a Wishes from deck at this from here. So it looks like we're going to be starting with that.
No, he's going to go with Roar.
Interesting.
Maybe there's not a card he wants to discard in his hand, or one of the 2 cards in his hand is already the Wishes. But the cool thing about Roar is it can special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck, and when you summon that Blue Eyes, it'll trigger the Maiden of White to be able to special summon back. But it looks like Adam might be trying to go after that face down Roar before it can be activated by using the IP Masquerena to summon something like SP Little Knight, and then he can just banish that face down card before it can be activated.
Yeah, I assume this is something that Jason considered. So we'll see what he has to follow up.
Yeah, and it being banished is huge too, because the graveyard effect of Roar being able to equip Fusion to your Blue Eyes is huge, because it's an easy way to access Blue Eyes Timer Bridge Dragon, which I think is one of the reasons why Blue Eyes is such a powerful deck, because of that card. But Typhon is going to be the last action here from Jason. He's going to be able to go into it since Adam summoned from his extra deck more than twice per turn. But he's going to chain the SP Little Knight to protect his Totally Awesome SP Little Knight, banish them for the turn. The Sprite will return to the hand.
Extremely favorable trade for Adam there. He essentially loses nothing.
Essentially, yep. And then at the end phase, the Totally Awesome comes back, the SP Little Knight back on the field. Totally Awesome will be able to negate one of those 2 cards that Jason put face down. I don't think he was able to get any Blue Eyes White Dragons into his graveyard, so Majesty won't be as impactful, won't have anything to destroy if that is one of those face down cards that Jason has. But we're going to see a special summon of Sprite Red.
Do we have any way to extend further?
I mean, you could overlay for like Gigantic with SP Knight in red.
You don't really want to do that.
I'd rather not.
Oh, this is not bad.
Okay,
the
Forbidden
Freezing Chain's already used everything it needs to. We can go ahead and half and negate the Typhon here. Might just be a battle phase angle.
Oh, no, he's definitely going for Gigantic, yeah. Oh, but you like go into Gigantic, just go battle and attack over maybe, but now he has a 3200 Gigantic Sprite. It's not small Sprite, it's Gigantic now, since there is an extra deck monster underneath it as the material.
He's going to stay Gigantic by keeping the material here. We're going to get that Sprite Blue again. Sprite Blue is going to go ahead and likely grab the Sprite Jet. And then I wonder, do you play Gamma Burst here?
Oh, there's no way in 2025 you're playing Sprite, you don't include Gamma Burst in your deck. It is just so much damage so quickly. It was I love that card.
I mean, this could be it right here.
Yeah, it gives all of them 1400 attack, I believe, right?
Yep.
All your level 2s, rank 2s, link 2s, all gain 1400 each, so that's an extra like 6,000 damage on top of what he already has on the field. The Typhon's halved by Forbidden Droplet. Jason's already at 6,200. Adam should be able to clean up pretty easily here. He still has to be cautious of those two face downs that Jason has, but he's going to attack Gigantic Sprite, damage step, activate Sprite, Gamma Burst. So that's going to put Gigantic Sprite to 4,600, attacking over half of 29, so 1,450. But yeah, this is going to be way more than enough, unless Jason has... You'd have to have a card to stop Totally Awesome and Mirror Force face down.
I mean, yeah.
Called by the Grave Mirror Force one time?
I mean, like one of those cards you can expect in a Blue Eyes deck.
Mirror Force?
Sure.
I had a 50-50 chance on that one. I thought for sure it was going to be the Mirror Force. And Jason's done the math, seen the damage, and is going to go ahead and concede. And Adam's going to take game one against the Primite Blue Eyes deck with his Sprite strategy. Keep in mind, this is round 3. Both these players have won their first 2 rounds. I don't think either of these players received buys. So, like, if you're wondering if this is just like, oh, maybe an off chance Sprite got lucky this game, well, he's already gotten lucky at least 4 other games.
Yeah, you know, he can continue getting lucky only a few more times before he can make it into that top hit.
Yeah, like a lot of these YCSs, we get to see, like, you know, what's going on at the tables, which decks are playing, and not all the decks make it onto the live stream. But Sprite, unironically enough, has been one of those decks that there's always at least like 1 to 2 players where they've been floating around like the X2 or X1 at the end of day 1, like right there on the outside looking in and making top cut. In fact, I think we even had a Sprite in top cut within the past few months, which is one of my favorite parts about Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, your cards never get like old. I mean, you're sure at some points like certain cards will get forbidden or limited, and maybe the deck's not as strong as it once was. But you can still use your favorite strategies that you know tried and true, as long as you find a way to incorporate them into like the current metagame, and you can find picks and ways to still take on the best and newest decks with your tried and true strategies.
Yeah, there's a lot to really pay attention to in Yu-Gi-Oh! Especially, you can never count out a bunch of these old strategies, mainly because they always find an opening, right? Anytime what they do becomes applicable again, you just could shine in a situation like this. I think there's a lot that's kind of working against Sprite. Mainly, I want to say the Molcharmi Perulia, I think it's really... I think any of the Molcharmis can be really hard. I guess Meowth is not that bad. But
yeah, outside of Meowth, but Fualos and Perulia are pretty strong against Sprite.
And those cards are everywhere. We've seen them already a few times here in the feature matches this tournament. But it looks like Adam's been dodging. He was able to dodge them this round. And then we saw just how powerful the deck can be going second because of cards like Gamma Burst.
Yeah, I mean, Sprite, it's not, they can put a lot of monsters on the field really quickly, and then, yeah, on the backs of something like Gamma Burst, it can easily win going second.
And we also just saw how powerful Totally Awesome can be. That card was extremely popular even in just the last format. Now that Bahamut Shark is gone, this is the only deck that can truly efficiently put it out.
Yeah, no, it's definitely cool to see decks being able to still capitalize on trying to find a way to summon Totally Awesome, you know, the proper way. You need 2 Aqua monsters.
Ethically, yeah.
Even though I know there are like combo lines in Sprite, I don't think Adam's using it here today, where you go into like Reproducus to turn in one of your beavers into an Aqua so you can overlay with like one other Swap Frog. So there are still ways to cheat out the Totally Awesome in Sprite, but
Normal Summon Swap Frog is pretty efficient. Yeah. Like, it gets there.
Swap Frog is still one of the best ways. No Ronin Totem, unfortunately, so not super easy to get the Totally Awesome. But with the Mirror Maiden of the Ice Barrier, there's plenty of ways to still get to that. Totally awesome. And I think it is totally awesome that Adam brought Sprite here to the YCS, and now he can win this next game, and he will moving on with a 3-0 record with Sprite. But Jason gets to go first this time. We're going to see what the Blue Eyes deck does in action. Will he be able to get access to his Primite cards? It does seem like he is using a bit smaller of a Primite engine than a lot of other Blue Eyes players have gone with historically since the release, so maybe that's why he might not access it, but we'll have to see if he's still able to draw that Primite Ether Barrel and find ways to get to Primite Drill Beam. I know I've seen a lot of discussions about Primite Drill Beam since its release in Master Duel. A lot of players kind of like being like, man, this card's really good. May have gotten like overlooked at first when it was first released, but now people really understand it's a quick play. You can play from your hand. Not only does it negate, it banishes, and it's a fantastic card. But we're going to see if Primite Drill Beam is going to make an impact here in game number 2.
I think one of the single most powerful points of interaction that has been printed in a very long time, negating and banishing, is so strong. But I'm glad it's like restricted to, okay, you have to have a vanilla monster in your deck. You have to have a normal monster.
Yeah, it definitely has like a little tougher of a requirement to be able to activate, but and then the fact that it just keeps coming back, right? Like if you just control a Primate monster, you can just reset it onto the field every turn, which is really useful when you're going second because you're able to use it like proactively to negate something that's trying to slow you down, and then you can reset it and have it as a defensive maneuver during your opponent's turn.
Looks like we're going to be starting game number 2 here. We're going to be leading with Sage, one of the strong starts. No interactions here. This is one of the reasons why Sprite was so strong in its heyday, is how much non-engine it could fit. We don't have any just yet, but I imagine there will be some throughout this turn.
Yeah, definitely. Sage is one you want to stop because you don't want them to have access to Maiden, but there's always a chance they have the Maiden in their hand already, so you can hold back on it. But the next move for Jason is going to discard that Maiden of White to place True Light from the deck face up onto the field. One of the big reasons why Blue Eyes, I mean, obviously they need the wishes for Eyes of Blue, but being able to always be able to access it with Sage, Maiden, so many starter cards to get there, you're able to really get to your strategy online right away, because the wishes of Eyes of Blue is going to get you 2 cards that mention Blue Eyes. You're going to get like a level 1 light monster plus a spell or trap that mentions Blue Eyes, but it gets you a card that can special summon Blue Eyes, or if you already have access to it, you can get the trap card Majesty
Just anything that you need, right?
Yeah,
like,
it just does so much.
All. And look, you were right, he did have a second copy of Maiden to discard for that Wishes. We're going to be adding another copy of Sage, because remember, Sage is not once per turn, it's just whenever it's normal summon. And when he's going to eventually link away that Sage, he's going to be able to add Mausoleum with the Spirit with Eyes of Blue.
Yeah, so you could just like straight up add Effect Veiler because it's level 1 Light Tuner, but why not get that extra normal summon in, get that extra monster on the field that you can use to either link away for another copy of the Spirit with Eyes of Blue, so you can go into like a Heretic Seal, or you just get access to a level 1 tuner with a Blue Eyes, which is, of course is going to get you to Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon.
It looks like he is going for the Roar here. Typically when we see these 2 cards together off of Wishes, I think you're going to be making 2 Synchro monsters here.
Yep, yeah, either 2 Synchros or a Seal plus a Spirit Dragon, but he definitely has all the tools he needs to do some of the most optimal plays here with the Primite Blue Eyes deck. So here comes that Spirit with Eyes of Blue. That'll let him add the Mausoleum of White, as you alluded to, Asala. The cool part about the Mausoleum, too, is the effect to target a monster on the field to send a Blue Eyes to your graveyard is a great way to use the Maiden to get another Blue Eyes or another level 1 tuner onto the field, whichever one you need, because it lets you target the Maiden and trigger the effect.
The deck has a bunch of tricks now, which I think a lot of the previous Blue Eyes strategies I thought were extremely linear. Like if you compare it to Blue Eyes from 2016, it was so heavily reliant on the non-Blue Eyes cards, just like any kind of Reborn spell. But now the deck is just so self-contained. It's able to just do it all very quickly off like 1 summon.
Yeah, Structure Deck Blue Eyes White Destiny really changed the game for Blue Eyes players out there. But we're going to see him use the Mausoleum of White to target the Spirit with Eyes of Blue to send a Blue Eyes White Dragon. Now he's going to use the Spirit with Eyes of Blue effect to tribute itself to summon back a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the graveyard. And now that it's no longer on the field, he's not locked into dragons, so he can bring back that Maiden of White if he so chooses.
It looks like that's what's happening now. Activating the Maiden in the grave. Will this trigger potentially a Bestial? Nope, it looks like it's going to be resolving here. And okay, this is surprising. This is not what I thought was going to happen. We're going to be activating Sage, targeting the Maiden. Maiden is able to use its effect now.
Oh, so he's going to use the Sage from hand to trigger the effect as opposed to the Mausoleum. Interesting. So yeah, we can either summon a Blue Eyes Dragon or the level 1.
I mean, I guess that works, yeah. Like,
so now he's going to have a Blue Eyes Dragon.
Getting both Blue Eyes out of the deck.
Yeah, so he can still normal summon. He still has his extra normal summon, right?
Yeah, if he has another one to use. I wonder, like, if you did it this way, why even search Roar? I guess your play, because you had to get wishes off of the True Light, you were very weak to Abyssrial, so Roar gave you some kind of security against that.
Oh yeah, so Wishes is the one that you can banish to equip from the extra. So he's going to banish the Wishes. Roar is the one you banish from your graveyard to conduct a fusion summon, but you can't use that effect in the same turn. Misspoke there in the last matchup, the last game of this matchup, but it's okay because now he's going to Synchro Summon for a Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon.
He can make Tyrant Dragon here with those if he so chooses. I think he's going to leave it in the extra deck, or is he going to leave both of those on the field? I doubt it, right?
So he's just going to pass here with the Blue Eyes equipped.
Interesting. Okay, I wonder why he wouldn't synchro with that one.
Yeah, because the Neo Blue Eyes in the graveyard gives you targeting protection for your Blue Eyes. Yeah, interesting. But we'll see what he's going to end up doing with this Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon.
I imagine he's got a plan. Like,
yeah, I'm assuming he at least has Majesty of the White Dragon set, which will let him destroy 2 cards on his opponent's side of the field since he has 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons.
And Sprite famously not great at dealing with removal. You need those level 2s on the board to be able to continue playing the cards out of your hand. But the strong start here, we're going to be starting with that Swap Frog. It's going to be able to send a level 2 Aqua from the deck. Will Jason have a response to that? Looks like he's considering.
All right, looks like no effect to Swap Frog, or he's chaining Sprite Starter.
Not quite sure why you would. Oh, okay. I think maybe so you're chaining Starter to... well, okay, I was going to say he might put out Sprite Red to negate the Blue Eye Spirit if it opts to negate the card that you send off Swap Frog. But we'll see what happens here. It was, in fact, chained. We see Mirror Mage. Oh, okay. This makes so much sense. Mirror Mage Chainlink 1, Sprite Blue Chainlink 2.
That way the Blue Eye Spirit Dragon can't negate the graveyard effect. Smart stuff. It's kind of chain blocking there.
Adam definitely showing that he knows how to play his Sprite deck. He knows what he needs to do to get his effects through.
The Sprite Blue is going to add Sprite Red.
Once he's able to put red on the field, he's able to protect himself from any of those monster effects. So he probably wants to prioritize putting that down. Considering his options here, though. Looks like we're just going to overlay with... Oh, no. Okay, looks like we're link summoning.
Maybe trying to go into Sprite Sprint, but the Nimble Angler is not going to be as effective versus the Blue Eye Spirit Dragon.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he didn't summon the red first.
Okay, we're just going to go for... Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, but still, if he had that Sprite Red on the field, he'd be able to negate the Spirit Dragon, negating the True Light effect. Oh, but he has Effect Veiler anyway, so the Nightmare Phoenix, so True Light is going to be safe.
And he gave up the Jet for this? That's kind of expensive.
Yeah, I would expect that he would have another one if that's what he discarded, since he hasn't summoned from his hand quite just yet.
I mean, up to this point, Adam's always had a plan. He's been really meticulous about his play here. So I think he at least accounted for the scenario. We're going to be activating the Freezing Chains now. We're going to be able to summon back that Mirror Mage from the graveyard. See if Jason ever chooses to use the Effect of Spirit here to tag out.
Looks like he's still holding on to it, trying to get that graveyard negation alive still.
I mean, yeah, Sprint is still available. Still not summoning that Sprite Red either. I guess he just knows, he doesn't want to play it into the Majesty that he knows is there. Like, or at least he assumes, you know?
That could be the case. That could be why he's trying to navigate with as few cards as possible while still holding back on his resources. But it's called by the grave. It's not even a Majesty of the White Dragon.
Wow, playing around the Majesty up to this point could be really punishing here. So we'll see what happens. If the Call by the Grave is likely activated on Sprite Jet, just because it hasn't been used this turn. I can't really see what he targets, but I would assume that's the best card here. And it looks like that was Jet. And now you can't attack directly this turn. We're going to be special summoning Sprite Red because you control a Link monster. A Link level 2. Or Link 2, sorry. You know what I mean.
The number 2 is involved. All right, and then here comes the Jet. No effect, so yeah, you can presume that he banished the Jet with Call by the Grave. Assume.
We can go ahead and make Gigantic here.
Does look like what he's thinking about. Nope, it's going to be another Link summon for maybe a Link 3 or a Link 2.
Yeah, we activated starter this turn, so we are locked into 2s.
Oh, that's right.
We're going to be finally going for that Sprite Sprint. Going to be able to send that Nimble Angler. Sprite Red is online right now, so you can negate the effect of Spirit at any point. But I think this is a good trade here, because he will use the effect of Spirit to try to negate the Angler. Forces you to use, or it doesn't force you to use Red, but you're going to likely use Red. Oh, actually, okay. We're just not going to, we're going to ignore that entirely, because if you did use Red, he could always just chain it to tag out. And now we're prioritizing keeping the Red available to make sure it doesn't tag out into anything that's even more threatening. But now we can send another Angler here. Angler's able to resolve. That'll get you all your Nimble Beavers. Well, not all of them, just 2. And then
that's all you need.
Yeah. I suppose. 2 is enough where you're able to make Gigantic here.
The big thing is that Called by the Grave on the Sprite Jet is huge, because it's going to mean Adam can't access something like Sprite Gamma Burst to really try and finish off the game, or even like attack over these giant monsters. But we'll see if you can find a way to still clear the board.
I mean, Gigantic will be at least bigger than one of them if you overlay with the Sprite Sprint. But it looks like we're not doing that. We're going to be... I wonder what you are going for here. Okay, it looks like we are going for the Gigantic Sprite. What do you think is left in the deck to summon at this point?
I think it's just another monster to have on the field, and then maybe he'll just go into another Gigantic Sprite that can attack over something. I don't know, or he's going to look for another, like, rank 2, like, I don't know, it's been a while, but there's a lot of good ones, like Sky Cavalry, maybe. They're just trying to return the Synchro.
I mean, yeah, you're not even able to go into Zeus anymore, so I wonder what he can do to really stop Jason from just doing everything he wants to on the following turn. I don't even, like, building a wall doesn't really make sense against Blue Eyes.
Yeah, I really think that Called by the Grave was very impactful for this game. Just cutting off Sprite Jet is just huge.
It might, like, prove out to be really insane that he opted to keep the Blue Eyes equipped with the fusion on the field, because he can just make Tyrant into this board and attack everything.
I love Blue Eyes Tyrant Burst Dragon. It is a really good card. And the best part is, like, if you use, like, Imperm when, like, on your opponent's first turn, and then you go into Tyrant Burst, you can reset it when you destroy something by battle. Oh, Sprite Pixies. He does play Sprite Pixies, so that is what he's going to summon off Gigantic Sprite. So that might help him here in the battle phase a little bit.
I mean, he has to prioritize clearing that Blue Eyes that's equipped, I guess. Otherwise, or I guess you just leave the Pixies on field and hope that nothing can clear on the following turn. Yeah, like, I mean, we're seeing the limitations of Sprite right now. Not really anywhere else you can go from here. Little Knight already used. We're going to be overlaying with the Pixies. I mean, that can only be a second Gigantic.
Yeah, it is the only Xyz monster that can utilize a Link as a level 2, but...
No, we're just going to concede. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah, so, yeah, it really came down to that Call by the Grave on the Jet being, like, the end-all to be-all for that game, because Sprite Gamma Burst is an easy way to kind of clear the field and force things out, but...
I see what Adam was doing. He was very much respecting the Majesty. He saw that Jason did the line that puts as many Blue Eyes in rotation as he could, so he just assumed that the Majesty was there, wanted to hold back the monsters in his hand and while forcing it out so he can extend further. and he got rid of the second copy of Jet in his hand. He did not expect the worst case scenario it being called by in that position.
Yeah, it was definitely, I think, the game deciding moment. But I mean, Jason opened up pretty strong. The inboard wasn't exactly as like strong as it could have been with the cards that he had in his opening hand, but it seemed to be just enough. But when you're playing against a deck that you like don't expect, like that can like kind of get into your head a little bit. You're like, well, normally I would do this. I'd end on like Seals plus Spirit Dragon. Maybe thought, well, with Sprite, I'd rather have that Blue Eyes as like more of a threat on the field. But that Effect Veiler, the Called by the Grave, really, really came in clutch. But when we're trying to like figure out what Adam was doing, I think Adam was also trying to figure out what Adam was doing. And he's like, there has to be a way. Like I have access to all my cards, but sometimes just big monsters is good enough in Yu-Gi-Oh!
I mean, usually in that situation, what Sprite is trying to do is just wall up, see another turn, have some leftover level 2 monsters to be able to start again. But there will not be any leftover monsters against Blue Eyes as long as Tyrant Dragon can hit the field. Adam will be able to take first in game number 3 here. Really show how Sprite is able to set up multiple interactions. The one thing is, they are all the same type of interaction. They're all just on the field. You can get that extra layer through something like Double Cross or Staggered Starter, where you start in the middle of a turn. That's why, historically, Sprite has been really weak to cards like Dark Rule no more, which aren't popular anymore, for good reason. There's really similar powerful spell cards now that don't cost you essentially your whole battle phase. Like, not really your battle phase, but the ability to do damage. So you want to be able to end the game, so cards like Ultimate Slayer have been more popular, which could be a reason why Sprite has been able to take advantage of this metagame. But I think there are still a lot of cards that can just target down cards on the field and remove their effects. So we'll see what Jason has available to him.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tough fight. He did lose game 1 when he had to go second, but now the side decks are involved, so it's not going to be the same exact result that we saw in game number 1. But now they're all side deck getting shuffled up, and we're about to find out, will Sprite be able to take down the meta contending Blue Eyes deck, or will Blue Eyes find a way to bounce back and win the last 2 games here to move on with a 3-0 record?
I wonder if Jason's going to be putting in any Mulcharmies. Some cards I've mentioned multiple times are very, very popular this weekend, but Blue Eyes is typically not a deck that wants to take advantage of those cards because it is trying to establish more of a grindy game, which means you want as many of your cards to be live throughout multiple turns, and the Mulcharmies are more of a turn 1 focus.
That could be the case, yeah. I don't know. I still want to make sure I have Mulcharmies somewhere in my deck, and
which is probably the reason why I wouldn't play Blue Eyes for this tournament, but yeah. like.
All right. All shuffled up and about ready to go.
Players are drawing their hands here. I can only assume that Adam will be starting.
YCS rules, I need the following rules to support on the main stage. Penny Wilson is reported on the main stage.
All right, looks like the players are ready to get going. Starting game number 3 here. From the mannerism, I couldn't tell who was starting at first, but it looks like Adam is going to be normal summoning Beaver. Nimble Beaver will be able to summon another Nimble monster from the deck here.
Usually want to
Angler, right?
Yeah, usually want to get one of your Nimble Anglers. That way, if you use Nimble Angler later on in the turn with Sprite Sprint, you'll be able to special summon your other 2 copies of Nimble Beaver from the deck.
I wonder if you're going to go straight into your Sprint, but it looks like we're just going to be overlaying into Gigantic here. Adam knows that Jason does play Ghost Ogre, so that could be really strong here, but it looks like it's going to be resolving immediately, able to detach that Nimble Angler. Going to be able to summon Sprite Blue from the deck. Blue is able to trigger.
All right, 1 spark starts it all, and now Sprite Blue will let him add Sprite Jet.
At least he's eyeing it.
Freeze play. YCS rules, that is time of round.
Oh, he's considering some options here. Looks like he's going for Sprite Carrot. Okay. Really cares about potentially infinite impermanence in this position with the remaining cards in his hand. Carrot's going to hit the field. It's going to be linking away the Gigantic as well as the blue. I can only imagine Sprint. Sprint hits the field. Sprint's effect. Going to be sending that other copy of Angler that we've seen in his deck.
No infinite impermanence here to force out the Sprite Carrot. Now Nimble Angler will summon 2 more copies of Nimble Beaver.
I mean, this is where the deck really misses Sprite Elf.
Oh, yes. I don't miss Sprite Elf.
Oh, yeah, it's for good reason that she's not here. Okay, just a little IP Masquerena. Nothing. This isn't overwhelming, you know? A Spell and Trap Negate as well as an IP Masquerena, not crazy. But we can only assume the sets are powerful as well as like some remaining cards. And Sprite usually empties its hand, so if there's anything left in it, going to be some form of interaction.
Yeah, some defensive options on top of what he has here on the field could be enough, but we'll see what Jason opens up with. We haven't seen any of the Primite cards, really. I mean, we saw Ether Barrel just a little bit in game number 1, but...
Going to be leading with the Mausoleum here. I mean, it looks like a lot of spells and traps in hand into a Sprite Carrot, so...
So he's going to start with the Mausoleum because that's going to give him an additional normal summon for a level 1 light monster. So Sage with Eyes of Blue is going to come down as his extra normal summon.
That's a great one. Wanted to see if he could force out the Carrot early on, but looks like nothing is going to be used from Adam just yet. Will there be an infinite permanence on the Sage? Well, you can't think too long. That looks like it will be resolving here. Oh, no, he's still thinking. Okay, no, okay. It looks like it has resolved now. Gonna be able to grab that Maiden. And then a Drone Lockbird is activated.
All right, not too bad. That'll help him like stop Wishes with Eyes of Blue from resolving. Maiden of White will still be able to get True Light onto the field since it places it, but will not be able to get cards that are as strong. And it looks like he has the Lordly Load in his hand too, but
he has a lot of search cards in his hand right now.
Yeah,
but the Maiden is good enough, right? Getting access to True Light will get you access to Roar, and that's really all you need. But you also just have access to Mausoleum and Sage already on the field. So you just have to deal with the potential SP Little Knight that's going to come down.
Yeah, he's going to have to make sure he times this IP Masquerena perfectly so it doesn't get out of control. As you mentioned, True Light's a trap, so if he were just to go into SP Little Knight to try and go after the True Light, he would just be able to chain it. So instead he needs to wait until the True Light's been used and then SP Little Knight, the card that it gets, whether it be a Blue Eyes or a Roar.
And we still haven't used Carrot yet either. Carrot being able to potentially negate and destroy True Light could be huge.
True.
Haven't used either of the sets yet either. I mean, the way he was thinking, you can kind of assume one of them would be infinite impermanence. Okay, looks like we're going to be activating IP Masquerena here.
Gonna link away the Sprend with itself to summon SP Little Knight. Let's see if he banishes the True Light or the Spirit with Eyes of Blue.
I think you just go for the Spirit here.
I think so too, just because he's under Droll, so True Light can only summon a Blue Eyes from the hand or graveyard. Doesn't have one in his graveyard, so he'd have to have one from hand. It can get access to Roar.
Okay, I went for the Mausoleum. Because, okay, so that way he couldn't even send the Blue Eyes. Yeah, we haven't done that yet. And now he's locked into Dragons for what it's worth. And we're activating the True Light, so he's going to be activating the effect of Sprite Carrot to negate and destroy. True Light's going to be able to trigger in the graveyard to destroy the Spirit with Eyes of Blue. All interactions that are known from Adam used now, but still under that Drone Lockbird.
Yeah, if he has the Lordly Load, he'll still be able to summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon. At least it will stop him from activating any effects from the extra deck, but he'll at least be able to get monsters onto the field. Nope, but nope, just decides to set the cards instead. It was a Primite Lordly Load, right?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
I think he's just...
Because you can just activate it and call Blue Eyes White Dragon and summon one.
Yeah,
right?
which will still let you summon the Maiden from the graveyard, which I think that's part missing. Like,
yeah.
it only negates the effects on the field, I believe. Or, like, it says you can't activate them, rather.
Yeah. So, interesting choice here, but now he's only has a...
I think it's something he needed to do, because one of the other sets was Majesty.
Oh, yeah, Majesty without a Blue Eyes isn't much.
I'm pretty sure the hand was Lord, Majesty, Wishes, and I didn't see the last one. But it's a little rough here now if this is the position that you're in. But at the least, there isn't actually anything going on for Adam. It's just a Sprite Carrot until we summon Mirror Mage.
And that's the cool thing about Sprite. You can have very few cards, but if you can access something like Gigantic Sprite, you can get your whole engine online again and start summoning all those level 2s to the field.
It looks like Mirror Mage did not have an effect there, so you kind of assume the Freezing Chains is in the hand, probably one of the sets here, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine he sided it out.
Going first? I doubt it.
I highly doubt it. All right, we're going to overlay these two monsters for what I'd imagine to be Gigantic Sprite. Yep. Not Gigantic this time, just regular.
He's a Sprite.
Regular Sprite.
Skill Drain.
Ooh, didn't see that one. The one we didn't know, that's a big one. You don't detach his cost. This keeps the Mirror Maiden underneath the Gigantic Sprite, so he won't be able to summon it back.
You tried, Adam. You tried.
With the, yeah, it kind of seems that way, doesn't it? Skill Drain. If you thought Blue Eyes was an old card, so is Skill Drain. Pay 1,000. Now we're on equal playing field. Now it makes even more like sense if he had that Blue Eyes White Dragon on the field from the Lordly Load from last turn.
I think he just tunneled a little bit as to what Lordly Load actually does for him. Yeah.
Or he decided he could have made the decision that he didn't need the Blue Eyes on the field, but really wanted to access Primite Drill Beam, so he doesn't want to activate Lordly Load until he can get that additional effect to add.
That could work, yeah, just having access to the Ether Barrel. All right, well, we made it to the next turn. I mean, if he was planning on flipping up the Skill Drain anyway, then let's see.
Will Skill Drain be enough to balance the tables for Blue Eyes to come back? Wishes, discard, draw.
Gonna start off with the Wishes here. I feel like if what you expected to happen, he would start off with the Lord getting access to the Drill Beam, and then you can see what happens from there.
Maybe it's not Lordly Load. Maybe my eyes deceive me.
You know, yeah, maybe we were just both wrong. I could have sworn, because I saw the Wishes for sure. The only card I didn't see was the Skill Drain. But I assume the other two sets are Majesty and Lordly Load, but we will see.
Adds a Maiden of White and Roar.
Lifts up the Lordly Load.
Okay, there it is. Maybe there's a chance you can't activate Lordly Load? Is the adding optional? So you can't activate it if you're under Draw and Lockbird? That could be the case.
Oh, okay, yeah. Is it mandatory to add? That could always be the case, yeah.
But either way, Jason knew what he was doing because he had that Skill Drain. He had no reason to be worried. I think it is mandatory.
Yep, it is mandatory.
Okay, so that was the case. He couldn't add under Draw, so he couldn't activate the Lordly Load, even just to do the other effect.
That's on us, yeah. He would have if he could.
All right, but now the Roar is going to summon the Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck. And now he is going to special summon. Oh, he's using...
Use Roar and then use Lordly Load.
Oh, this is Lordly Load, so he declared Blue Eyes White Dragon for Lordly Load. We don't have player audio for this, so we're just kind of doing the best we can.
We're going to be activating Majesty. Going to be able to clean up the field here.
Going to go after the two face downs.
There's Daruma Cannon and Droplet. Okay. Very interesting. All right, going to be activating the effect of Wishes in the graveyard now. Going to equip one of those fusions onto Blue Eyes here. And then we're going to be contact fusing with that Blue Eyes into Tyrant. Won't be able to activate its effects here, so we're not going to be able to reset the Majesty.
Even though it is unaffected by trap cards, Skill Drain already on the field before the Tyrant Burst is summoned.
The Lordly Load mainly, right?
On that too.
Yeah.
But it's still a very big monster, 3,400 attack, even if it has no effect.
Bigger than how a Gigantic Sprite can get. We're going to be activating Maiden here.
Going to be able to place that True Light from the graveyard back onto the field.
Just a clean little swing here, and now, I mean, big monster Skill Drain with True Light and Lordly Load. This game is pretty much over.
Yeah, it looks like on the backs of Skill Drain, Jason might be able to clean things up and win the back two with Primite Blue Eyes.
Oh, that's right. Mirage only searches when it's sent to the graveyard. So Mirage is able to trigger here, add the freezing chains. Going to be able to synchro summon into the spirit. And then we're drawing for turn. And I mean, Adam has to find a way out, but there is none. Oh, and Jason takes the game here with his Primite Blue Eyes deck.
That was a good match. I mean, we got to see Adam do Sprite things. He was able to at least win game number 1 with Sprite, but Jason showing in the end the Blue Eyes deck is just too much. And Droll and Lockbird actually just an incredible card against the Primite Blue Eyes deck if you hit them at the right time, especially now that we know that Lorely Load is a mandatory to add.
I think deep down I knew that before, but I tunneled onto like trying to get the Majesty Live in my head too.
Yeah, but
that's definitely
okay.
come up before.
Oh yeah, but that's okay. Jason knew how it worked and he played it well. And I mean, Skill Drain is that one, but he was smart enough to, I mean, I'm assuming he doesn't main deck it, but there is always a chance it isn't his main deck, but he was smart enough to side in Skill Drain while he was going second there in game number 3.
I mean, one of the most powerful,
off.
like if you're talking about continuous traps that can play into a field, Skill Drain is one of the best ones. You can force a lot of things out. Playing into, especially a board like Sprite, where they're all mainly just kind of weenies, but that have powerful effects. Skill Drain will really just clean it up here.
Yeah, it really was like the turning point of that game, because if that once we said like, yeah, it looks like Sprite doesn't have a lot going on. They only have like a couple monsters, but once that gigantic Sprite summons a Sprite Blue, which gets you a Sprite Jet, which gives you a Sprite Starter, which summons another monster, which gives you a Sprite Sprint, which sends an Angler, which summons 2 Beavers, and all of a sudden there's just level 2 monsters everywhere. You know, you're kind of like,
it can get
whoa.
crazy, but I think what we really saw here demonstrated in game number 3 is that lack of really powerful interruption. It's really generic. We have the IP Masquerena. We have just some forms of interruption that are like useful enough, but without access to Totally Awesome, it wasn't doing enough to actually stop the like more modern decks like Primite Blue Eyes. We have access to Droll and Lockbird into the field. He didn't get to use the Drummond Cannon or the Droplet, but he did have access to them, and then it just wasn't strong enough to deal with the big monsters that Primite Blue Eyes was able to put up, and he was able to just a mass advantage over multiple turns, which is what Primite Blue Eyes is just the best at.
Yeah, I mean, and his hand there in game number 3 was really solid. Like Maiden of White, Sage, he even had like the trap card already just to be able to establish himself once he was able to get things going. And like if you're getting Droll and Lockbird where you can't use any of your cards, those are the cards you want to have in that situation, especially something like Skill Drain to really balance it out, to be like, okay, I'm not going to be able to add, but you probably won't be able to finish me off because we have no monster effects. And once there's no monster effects, it's like every card is on even playing ground with Blue Eyes White Dragon. Like,
absolutely.
I don't have a monster effect, neither do you, but now how are you going to deal with this awesome engine of destruction? Few have faced it and lived to tell the tale. At least that's what I hear.
And another one down. That won't be telling the tale anymore.
Yeah, definitely not. But he is also one. It is Swiss, so maybe we'll be able to see Sprite make a comeback. You can get a couple of losses, but I think Kangas is standing by with our Blue Eyes White Dragon winner, so I'll go ahead and toss it to you. Take it away, Kangas.
Thank you very much. I have Jason on stage with me. Congratulations on your feature match victory, Jason, with the Blue Eyes Primite deck. Talk to me about why you wanted to play that deck, because I feel like it was very popular. A new set comes out. Unsure how many people would be playing it.
Yeah, so the fear with Blue Eyes is that we got a recent ban list, right? And that hit the top decks of Malice and Ryzeo, so Blue Eyes can kind of sneak in there. And I know that Malice has new support, so I specifically tech my deck to prepare for that, but I still think Blue Eyes is pretty good on a competitive standpoint here.
How'd you feel about the Sprite matchup? Did you expect that one? Did you have any techs for that?
I was definitely surprised, and I drew cards that did nothing against Sprite, so that was fun.
Well, you were able to pick up the win, but I want to talk about the stress of being in the feature match. Did you feel additional pressure knowing that the camera was on you, knowing eyes were on you?
Not really. I was just focused on the match all day, trying to keep my head cool and play as well as I can.
All right, cool, calm, collected. I like to hear, Jason. Any shout-outs that you want to give to anybody at home who might be watching?
Yeah, so shout out to my boys on Toxic Fable Discord. This was for you.
All right, thank you very much for the game. Congrats on the win. We're going to throw it back to the casters.